All right, we got 8 weeks till duck season. We're here at Marcus's house working in the AC today, doing a complete rebuild of my layout kayak. If you saw the video last week, we got everything stripped down and repainted and ready for the blind build. So let's go ahead and get started. First step that we're gonna do is bend horseshoes out of conduit. It's gonna attach back here. So we're gonna go ahead and cut this out just a little bit wider. Then we're gonna run a little bit of conduit down either side for a little more strength and rigidity. And we're gonna bend 2 horseshoes.
We're looking at about 20 inches wide and we said about 10 inches high. So we're gonna start off with a 40-inch piece.
So Marcus didn't stock up on hacksaw blades for his Sawzall, and the hardware store in town is closed. So it looks like we're doing it by hand.
Okay, so we want an 11.5-inch piece. So we'll put the mark at 6.5 inches and then we'll bend it right on the arrow. And we want a 90. So you can just kind of eyeball it. We're looking at right about 11.5 inches. So a lot of conduit bending, you can look up measurements and all that online. But for what we do, mostly, we just want to get a close estimate.
So now that the expert conduit bender is done making the horseshoe, it's time for my specialty, smashing the ends. After you've got your conduit flattened, you're going to want to put it on your kayak, drill holes completely through, and attach it with nuts and bolts. That's dirty.
So a lot of this kayak building is just custom fitting a blind to how you want to lay in it. Yeah, that's gonna be perfect. All right, so Dan's feet are gonna stick up about 5 inches, and then we'll add a couple inches for the waders. So 8 inches high and about 26 inches wide. 8 minus 5 for the bend, so we'll put the mark at 3 inches. Okay, so our measurements were a little bit off, but we just chopped off the extra, and we're gonna give it another shot.
You know what they say, measure long so you can cut twice. Okay.
Since we were just a little bit long, we went ahead and made a bend in the center.
So I'll kind of give one of those. Okay, yeah.
Got the last main support beam attached.
That's not going to give me as much room for my waders as we had hoped, but it still ought to be enough.
The one downside to this is it's going to make it a little harder to get into in deeper water. It's only going to bend so much.
Yeah, I guess you're right. We'll get the other one on, that'll help.
I'm always right. Yep, that looks like that's going to work pretty good.
We got the frame done, so we're ready to go ahead and get this painted up before we put the cover on. So the next step is going to be to cover the frame that we made with this camouflage Cordura, and it's a really nice waterproof fabric. You can see the water just rolls right off. So this is a great material for building blinds for layout kayaks. So we've already got our pieces rough cut for our fabric that's going to cover the blind. The next step is to attach all the material to the blind and poke a hole clean through the material, and that gets you about the perfect size to fit a really small zip tie. And you just slide the zip tie through around the conduit frame and pull it tight. Now that I've got it all tied on the zip ties, it's time to go ahead and trim up the rough cut.
We've intentionally left this a little long, and that'll kind of take up some of the space in between the flat doors here and the top of the support.
So now I am adding a strip of Velcro for the removable doors that I'm planning on putting on my blind this year. We got one side done, so we're moving on to the next one. So I've got all the fabric attached and trimmed up. The next step is going to be use spray adhesive to attach the ends of the fabric to the kayak all the way around.
You're just gonna do kind of one section at a time.
Well, you got to allow it dry to attack for 1 minute. We reached a good stopping point last weekend, but now we're back again, ready to finish it up with the doors and stubble straps. So we're going to try and reuse my doors from last year. So we're going to use the adhesive Velcro to attach to the old door, and we'll be able to test that out, and if we like the fit and finish of it, then we'll go ahead and actually stitch it on. So the frame of this kayak is pretty standard. It's nothing we haven't done before, but one thing I'm really excited about this year is these removable Velcro doors. One advantage of removable doors is that it's going to be much easier to get in and out of the kayak. So after getting everything stitched, we're going to go through and secure the string with little dots of super glue over each hole. Early season, when I don't want to hunt laid out, I can flip the seat around so that I can sit more in the center of the boat. The doors will still attach firmly to the frame to be used as cover. Having these doors be removable just gives us so many more options on how to configure these layout boats. So now that we've got the doors to the kayak finished, we're going to wrap up the build by adding some stubble straps.
So one of the most important considerations you can have while you're building your kayak design is figuring out how you're going to attach the natural vegetation.
The advantage of this method is it gives us large areas to hold handfuls of vegetation while still being able to hold it securely. So we've wrapped up the stubble straps down the front and the sides, and we've just got these two left here on the back until we finish her up. Coating these stubble straps with a light coat of spray paint to kind of help them blend in a little better and to cut down on the shine. So the last thing that we kind of decided to add is this camo mesh netting. This flip down mesh is going to be really handy in the late season, but during early season when it's not needed, it'll just tuck back nice and neat out of the way. This wraps up the build video for the 2019 Quacker Stacker upgrades. We hope you enjoyed the video and hope it inspires you to go out and make your own new and innovative layout kayak designs.